G'day and welcome to another video. In today's lesson we are going to make this market bag. It is really easy to make and I would suggest this pattern to a beginner. It only uses the double crochet stitch and the single crochet stitch. There is also a free written pattern on my website, so I'll put the link in the description box for that. I have used 2 strands of DK yarn, but this could also be used with a worsted weight or a 10 ply. I'd like to say a big thanks to redheart.com for supplying the yarn for this project. I have used the Red Heart Soft. I will show you more information in the video. This project can be made in various sizes and I will put all the information that you need in the video. So let's get started on the lesson. For our supplies we're going to need some yarn. I'm using Red Heart Soft and this is an 8 ply or a double knit yarn. You can also use 1 strand of worsted weight yarn or a 10 ply yarn. But I will be using 2 strands held together. So it's completely up to you if you want to do 2 strands held together or just 1 strand of a thicker yarn. I will be using a crochet hook that is a 12mm or any crochet hook that is really big. It's going to work up really fast, so it's a great project. You will also need a crochet hook that is recommended for your yarn. I'm going to be using one just slightly bigger. This yarn recommends a 4mm, but I'm just going to use a 4.5 because I can't find my 4mm. So yeah, just basically a crochet hook that your yarn recommends for you. I know if you're using Red Heart Super Saver, it recommends a 5.5 or a 5mm, which is a H or an I size crochet hook. So yeah, because around the top of where the handles are, that's where you're going to use your smaller crochet hook. If you're using that small crochet hook, the opening of your bag is going to be about the width of the chain that we did. If you want the opening of your bag wider, this is the small size, but if you want it wider, then just use a bigger crochet hook. So instead of using a 5.5, then choose a 5 or a 6mm crochet hook. If you've got a few different sizes that you've got, then you could just experiment with the band on the bag. But I just want, this is a small bag and I just want the opening, you know, not very big, so that's what I'm choosing. You're also going to need 4 stitch markers. I've got the locking kind and I've also got a paper clip which will work just as well, or you could use a scrap piece of yarn. You're going to need a pair of scissors and also a yarn needle with a large eye. There is a written pattern available for this project and that is on my website. I will put the link that you need in the description box. I just want to take a moment here to let you know that the bag that you see at the beginning of the video, so the introduction of the video, is made with 15 chains. In the video that you're watching now, at the position that it's at now, I do actually chain 25. After I'd done a few rounds of the project, I found I was going to run out of yarn and I thought the bag was going to be too big and also take too long to crochet. So what I did is I ripped it out and I started again with 15 chains. So just to make it clear, the bag that you see at the start of the video is 15 chains, that is the small. If you'd like to make a medium size, you could chain 20, and a large you could chain 25. There is no multiple for this bag, so no multiples for the chain. So you can really start with the amount of chains that you like. That's just a guide for you. Also, the top of the bag can be changed and made wider or narrower, and it's just a matter of using a different size crochet hook. If you don't want yours as narrow as mine, you could use a bigger size crochet hook just for the top of the bag. And what you're going to do, holding 2 strands together, we're going to chain 25. If you would like to make your bag larger or smaller across the base, then just add more or less, or take away, so you'll have less chains. It doesn't matter on the amount of chains, like you don't need to do multiples of anything. It's just make a chain. And my chain is about 30 centimeters or 12 inches long. and we are going to double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. Don't count the one on your crochet hook, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. You're going to double crochet, so it's yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And these 2 strands here are classed as just one strand because I'm using 2 strands at once. So if you're using 1 strand of yarn, you'll only have 1 strand there. Pull that through. And we want to do 4 altogether into that same chain. So that's number 1. And the skip chains here count as our very first stitch. So after we've done our 4 double crochets, altogether we're going to have 5 in that same space, same chain. So we're going to work our double crochets, and we're going to work 4 double crochets. Make sure you're getting all your loops on your crochet hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4 plus your skip chains. Into the chains across, we're going to do 1 double crochet in each stitch. So into the next one, we're going to do double crochet, and we're going to double crochet all the way across until we get to the end. When we get to our end chain, we're going to work 5 double crochets all in that same stitch. So that's our last chain of the row. So go across and I'll meet you when we've done when we've all the way up to our end over here. So pause the video and I'll see you there. So I'm up to my last chain and we want to do 5 all together. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn our work so that the stitches that we just did are at the bottom. And we're going to work along this side of the chain. So find the next chain. So you've got one here that you just did, and the next one is here. You'll see you've got like bumps along the top there, and then we're just going to work into the hole. So going into there, we're going to work 1 double crochet all the way across. So you'll be able to see the chain because the stitch on the other side here is coming out of it. So see how this part is coming out of that hole? That's where you're going to crochet into. So going into there, because that's where that stitch is coming out of. That's where you're going to go into. And we're going to double crochet all the way across. Pause the video and I'll meet you at the end. So, oh, I've got one left to go. Sorry, I thought I was near the end. So once we get to the end, what we're going to do is we are going to join to the very first stitch. So the first stitch is the chains that we skipped at the beginning. So we skipped 3 because we went into the 4th. So we've actually skipped 3. And you're going to count up 3 chains. So 1, 2, oops, hang on guys. You've got 1, 2, and 3. So it's not that one there because that's the stitch for that one. So it's this chain here. Now I like to go under the first 2 and then the back loops as well. I find if I just go under front or back that I get a big hole, and I don't like that. That's just how I do mine. And we're going to join with a slip stitch, so just pull that snug. So now we have this sort of shape. It's rounded at each end. So what we're going to do now is work 2 double crochet into each stitch around. You're going to chain up 3, and this counts as our very first stitch. And into the same stitch, so into here, we're going to work a double crochet. In the next stitch, we're going to work 2 double crochet. So there's 2 into that stitch, 1, 2. Into the next one, we're going to work 2 double crochet, and we're going to repeat this all the way around. So pause the video and I'll meet you when we're at the end of the round. So once you get to the end, we've got the chain 3 from the beginning, and we're going to join to the chain 3. And from now on, until you get the height of the bag that you want, what we're going to do is do a chain 3, and double crochet in each stitch around. So no more increasing like we did on the previous round. We're just going to do 1 double crochet, one double crochet in each stitch. And then when we come back around on this row, on this round, we're going to join to the top of the chain 3 like we did on the previous round, and we're going to repeat this until we get the height of our bag. So from now on it's just 1 stitch in every stitch around. So when we come back in the next part of the video, I will have mine height complete and I can show you how many I have done. Here is my bag, and I have 11 rounds from the beginning all the way to the top. So with your smaller crochet hook, what we're going to do is work around, and we're going to do single crochet all the way around. So just working into the stitch. And because we're using a smaller crochet hook, what it's going to do is bring the tops of our bag in, and it's not going to be so baggy. So we're just going to work our way around. And I will meet with you when we are back to the beginning here. When we get back around, we're going to join to the very first stitch, and we're going to make a slip stitch. We're going to chain 1. We're going to single crochet in the same stitch as the chain 1, and we're going to single crochet around. When you come back around, you're going to join to the first single crochet like we just did in the previous round. You're going to make as many rounds of single crochet as you like. I'm probably going to do about 5, I would say. And so pause the video and I'll meet you back when I have my band done. So for my band, I've done 1, 2, 3 rounds, and I've actually realised I'm about to run out of yarn. So what I'm going to do is stop at 3, but you could add as many as you like. And now I'm going to go on to my handles. I'm just going to grab that bit of fluff off. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the top of our bag, the opening, and we're going to decide where we want to put our handles. My general rule is going 1/4 of the way across and then putting a stitch marker. And you could either count your stitches or you could do it this way. So what I do is I lay my bag flat, so the bottom chain here needs to be flat. You don't want it twisted, so you don't want it laying like that. You want it all flat. Then what you want to do is fold your bag in half, so grab both sides and fold it in half. And then fold it in half again. This is quite hard because it's small, but fold it in half again. And then just here is where the quarter way mark is. So if I just grab that like that, you're going to put a stitch marker on each layer. So you've got the back one, got the next one, and of course when I open this I'm going to check it to make sure it looks even. So pull that back open, and then what you want to do is just make sure these are even. So they're basically, can't really see that blue stitch marker, they're basically lined up there. And then if I go across here, these ones aren't quite lined up, they look like they're about a stitch off. So I'm just going to check on this side, see how many we've got in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I just need to move that across. Hopefully they're going to line up. Yep, so if I pull it flat, then it all lines up. Okay, so you've got one stitch marker at the back on that side and one on that side. And then you've got one here and then one there. So you've got 4 altogether. And what I need to do is actually finish off my yarn there. Because of the way this bag was crocheted, my stitches have finished in the middle there. So I'm going to cut that off. That was just the end of my round, and I can sew that in later. So what I'm going to do now is just grab my yarn, and I'm going to join my yarn back into one of the marked stitches. And what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet around until we get to the next stitch, around to the next stitch marker. Sorry, I think I said the next stitch. So single crochet, which is what we've just been doing, and we're just going to keep going until we get to the next stitch marker. So pause the video and I'll see you there. So I've crocheted around and I've also crocheted into the marked stitch. What you want to do now is decide how long you want your handles. Depending on how big your bag is, I guess would be how big you want your handles. So I'm going to do 30 chains. I don't want this bag to have really long handles, so I'm going to do 30 chains. But whatever number you decide, you want to make sure you could write it down and just make sure you do the same on the other side. So I'm going to do my chains. So altogether I've done 50 chains, and what you want to do is make sure your chain's not twisted. I've put my crocheted work down since I've had the video going. I'm just going to make sure that that didn't twist. And by doing that, I'm looking at the front of our chains. It'll be flat, and the back of your chains has these bumps along it. Can you see the bumps at the back? So you're going to spin it around and you'll be looking at the front, and it'll be like little V's stacked on top of each other. So you just want to make sure all the V's are looking at you. Yes, they are. And then we're going to go, so we've done our chain out of there, we're going to go to the next stitch marker, and we're going to single crochet into that stitch. Now we're going to single crochet around to the next stitch marker. Pause the video and I'll meet you there. So I've crocheted around and I've also crocheted into the marked stitch. I haven't actually gone through the stitch, but that is the stitch I want. Gone through the crocheted into the marked stitch, and I'm going to do my chains again. So I need to do 50, so I'm going to do that off camera. So pause the video and I'll see when I've done my chains. So I've done my 50 chains and now I'm going to single crochet. Sorry, no, I'm not going to single crochet. I'm going to take that stitch marker out and I'm going to join with a slip stitch into the very first single crochet. So going through that first stitch and we're going to do a slip stitch. We're going to chain one and we're going to work a round of single crochet. So work around until you get to your next lot of chains and I'll show you what to do. So pause the video and I'll see you there. So I'm around to my chains and sorry if the lighting seems really off. It's actually night time and I've got the lights going. Seems a bit bright and glary. Let me know if this is no good for video tutorials, but it's going to have to work for this one. So when we come back around, we've got our chains here, and you can take out your stitch markers if they're in your way. I'm just going to take that one out. I think my chain is twisted around. Yep. So looking at your chain, we're going to crochet into the chain. You could crochet around the chain, but I like the look of when we crochet into it. We're going to go in our chain just like normal and we're going to work a single crochet. So this is like oops, I think I skipped one. Yep. This is like working our foundation chain when we do any sort of project. It's just on the handles. What's going on? I keep skipping a stitch. It is night time. Maybe that's it. And we're going to single crochet in each stitch around. When we come along, we're going to keep continuing down our chain, and we'll come down our chain and get to the first lot of single crochets, and what you'll do is you'll come along here on your chain and literally just single crochet like normal, how you would work a normal project, and just single crochet into the tops of the stitches like that. And then when you get round the other side to your other handle, you're going to come across, I just need to spin this around, you'll be coming across here working single crochets as normal, and then you're just going to work straight into your chain. So pause the video and I will meet you when we're at the end of this round. So at the end of your second handle, it's hard to see, and I actually almost just crocheted straight across, but we are going to join to the first single crochet because there's no start. If you keep looking for it, there's no start, and we've already done our chain and our handle side over there and also over here, so that's where we started. Now I'm going to work one more round of single crochet, and I think I'm going to be out of yarn, but you can do as many as you like. So I'm going to chain one, single crochet in the same stitch, and single crochet all the way around. When you get to your handles, it's easy peasy because we've already crocheted into our chain, and you're going to just single crochet all the way across. It's a very smooth transaction now at our handles. So pause the video and you're going to crochet all the way around. I have done 2 rounds on my handles and I've just finished off and I've slip stitched to the very first single crochet, and then I've just cut off my yarn. So what you want to do now is just pull the ends through the loop that we've got left there, and we want to find our yarn needle. I'm going to try and do 2 at once. And then I just turn my work to the back so that when you sew your ends in, it's on the back of your work. And I'm just going to sew down that way. You can sew across if you want, it's up to you, it doesn't really matter. As long as you've hidden your ends, you're good. And I've just put moisturiser on my hands just a little bit ago, and I'm going to find it hard to grab this needle. Ah! And then just sew back on itself, just to secure that in there. My hands are so slippery. Alright, so you get the idea. I can't get this out. I'm going to have to go wash my hands. Which defeats the purpose of putting moisturiser on. Ah, I guess I got it! Yippee! Right, so then just cut that off. And then you've got probably, oh, and we've got two ends on the handles, so I'm going to finish that off. And then you've got your one down the bottom. The one down the bottom, I'm actually going to sew, see how we had the 5 stitches there? I'm going to sew that just underneath those stitches just to hide it into there. I think that's going to work. So yeah. So here is my finished bag. I absolutely love it. I am so happy the way it's turned out. And when I make another one, I'm actually going to change the crochet hook on the top. This one has a small opening, which I can still get stuff in and out of, but I'm definitely going to use a bigger crochet hook to see what it looks like with the bigger opening as well. But this looks really cool. I love how it has the big bottom and then it sort of closes up at the top. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Please share your creations on our Facebook page. Also over on Instagram, you can tag me over there. Don't just hagtash me, because I probably won't find it for a while. If you actually tag my account, I will find it a lot quicker because it sends me a notification. We also have Patreon, so please share your projects if you are on Patreon. If you're not, please go and check it out. I would love for you to support me. From a little as $1 a month, you can help support my videos so that I can get you video tutorials and written patterns and all the other social media places that I get information to you. Without the support on Patreon, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So please go and check it out if you're able to. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy crochet.